Hello, 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 and welcome to the Chevalier sisters. Today it is just me talking about the books I read in the second half of 2025, so I guess we'll just get right into it. I read a lot less this second half of the year. I was a lot more busy editing my book, my second book, arguably the second half of my first book. Anyway, it'll be coming out sometime next year, so keep your eye out for that. It's just been a lot of editing. But let's just get straight into it. I'll be referencing my Pagebound for most of this. If you don't know what Pagebound is, it's basically Goodreads, but better. So now I actually have half stars and a more in-depth review of all of them, so it's even better than last video. So, starting off not so strong in the second half of the year, I read A Study in Drowning. Apparently a lot of people like this book. I'm not among them. I only finished it because I have it physically and was annotating it, so yeah. Overall, I gave it a 2-star. I should actually clarify what my star rating means, because I don't think a lot of people agree with my star rating. So for me, 1 star. Everyone, I feel like, agrees on 1 star. It was just bad. Nobody likes a 1-star read. 2-star, it was bad in like a long sigh kind of way. You're just like, it wasn't my cup of tea at all. But that doesn't mean it was like total trash or anything. In my opinion, this book just gets a lot of things half okay, half just what were you trying to achieve? Like, there were a lot of things in this book that I think could have been done really well, and that's why it's a 2-star. It was like almost something. For me, 3-star was like, that was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was fun. 4-star is like, wow, that is really good. And of course, 5-star, amazing. The reason why I gave it a 2-star was my more in-depth rating of it was overall 2-star, enjoyment a 1-star, because I did not like how the main characters interacted at all. I thought the female character was unreasonably rude to the main character, and I thought he was unreasonably good at taking it. I don't know. I really didn't jive with their interaction. And all the twists in the book, I could either see coming or were so unexpected, I was kind of just disappointed. But again, I'm not saying this book was awful. I'm just saying I did not enjoy it. Quality, I would say 2, maybe 2.5. I mean, again, the writing itself isn't bad, and there were a lot of things that could have been really great, but I personally was not impressed by. Characters, I gave a 1-star for previously stated reasons. And plot, I gave a 1.5 because it was, again, trying to do something, and I just wasn't in love with the execution. The second book of this second half of the year is actually a part of a series, a kind of long series on, I think it's a Kindle original, an Audible original. I listened to the audiobooks, so it was the 6th book of the King's Dark Tidings series, written by Kade. And I actually really enjoy this series. So my brother got me into this series. It's not like his favorite series, but I mean, it's a pretty good series. The 6th book, which is Night of Shadows, was pretty great. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars overall. I gave it a 4.5 for enjoyment because it was really fun because I hadn't read the series in a while. And so getting back into it was just really, really enjoyable. Quality, I gave a 3.5 because there were some things that were just a little drawn out, and I feel like the power system just keeps getting larger and larger, and so it kind of feels like we're running in circles with, like, increasing our power levels. I don't know if that's making sense, but I feel like there were things that could have been done better, and I could have felt like we got a little bit more progress. But overall, really enjoyable. For characters, I gave a 4 because I love these characters. They're so great. I really enjoy particularly one of them, Wesson. If you've read the series, you'll know who I'm talking about. So great. Also, I'm really glad that something that's been annoying since like the 3rd book got resolved. Finally resolved that. And for plot, I gave it 3.5 because it was good, but it wasn't like, wow, man, so much happened, which is my cup of tea. Like, I want to be blown away by how much progress we got done. So, overall, really enjoyed it. Am I gonna read it again? Maybe. Okay, now we're getting into amazing territory. I read the second book of the Kingkiller Chronicles, written by Patrick Rothfuss. If he ever finishes the series, I'll be so psyched. But once again, he's hit me with a 5-star read. So I gave The Wise Man's Fear also 5 stars. If you watched the previous video, I read Name of the Wind and also gave it 5 stars. Now I can go in a little bit more in depth because of Pagebound's thing. Also, this is not sponsored, by the way, or affiliated in any way. I just really like Pagebound and think everyone should try it out. Overall, 5 stars. Absolutely. Enjoyment, I gave a 4.5 just because it's long. And there were points at which I got like a little bit like, okay, yes, I understand a lot of world building. But I mean, again, great world building. Oh my gosh, such a great world building. Although I might seem annoyed by world building sometimes, I love a good world. Everything else I gave a 5 stars. Quality, characters, plot, all 5 stars. Really, if Patrick would just write the final book, he would be like the most amazing author. Next one, we will return to the world of Kingstark Tidings with the newest book, Ritual of Ruin. This book, I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of disappointed by. I gave 3 stars on here because it was good, you know? It wasn't like, wow. I listened to it on a long car drive, which was kind of great because it was like, you know, just something to have in my ears and zone out to. But overall, we ran into the problem of I felt like we weren't getting very far. And also the power system is just getting so almost spiderwebby, or it's just very vast and not a lot of like upward progress. So enjoyment, I also gave a 3 out of 5. And quality, I also gave a 3 out of 5 because I just honestly don't think it was her best writing. It almost feels like she didn't know how it was going to end when the series started, which totally fair. But now it feels kind of like we're chasing shadows, and I don't know where it's going. Which, I mean, it could come around and be awesome, and the ending's amazing, and half of these points are irrelevant, but it just feels a little drawn out for my taste, especially because I'm more of a short series reader, as opposed to, like, my brother, who's obsessed with, like, longer series. But anyway. For character, I gave a 4, because, again, I love these characters. They're great. But they weren't, like, at their most awesome, in my opinion. And for plot, I gave it 2.5, because it just feels a little fillery. I'm the kind of person who needs constant progress to feel properly engaged. The next book is kind of a weird one for people who are used to just typical fantasy, and that is The Jester of Apocalypse, Book 1, Eternity. This book is shockingly awesome, in my opinion. If you like morally correct and positive characters, this is not the book for you. But if you like semi to severely insane main characters with very little moral ground to stand on that are pretty dope, I would suggest this book series. The power system is, like, interesting and pretty concise, I would say. Like, it expands throughout the book and into the series. I'm so close to finishing the second book, so I might talk about it later here. But it never feels overwhelming or too spiderwebby. I don't know how to describe it. Like, too vast without enough upward progression. Like, there's plenty of upward progression. Like, if you like a fast-paced, wacky, kind of disturbing story, I suggest this. I gave it a 3.5 overall because I feel like there were some things, quality of writing. Oh yeah, this book also has a ton of cursing, so if that's not your thing, I wouldn't suggest it. Like, they're cursing all the time. So I felt like the writing could have used a bit of improvement, a little bit of editing, but it was still really enjoyable. For enjoyment, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Like, I had such a fun time. I listened to the entire audiobook in like 2 days. Oh, also the audiobook reader is great. I highly suggest the audiobook. For quality, I actually gave it a 4.5 because the world building is so strong and it's so interesting. Like, even though I don't love the writing style, it is a very fascinating world and use of the world, I guess. Like, it feels Like, it's always pushing the borders of the world, which I love. For characters, I gave it 3.5 because a lot of the supporting characters are kind of meh, but the main character is fascinating. I mean, he's also kind of meh if you're trying to look at him from a moral standpoint or a likable standpoint. He's not likable, exactly. He's very interesting, and I kind of like that. And for plot, I gave it a 4.5 because, again, constantly stretching the borders of the world, constantly playing with stuff, like, it's very fascinating. But again, it's like a very particular type of fantasy. I wouldn't suggest this to just everyone, but I'm not trying to sound elitist. It's just a weird book. And the next one, which I actually finished the exact same day as I finished Eternity, the Jester of the Apocalypse, Book 1, is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This one took me a while to read because I was reading it with my eyes, and I'm dyslexic and pretty slow at reading, but I love my copy. It's annotated because I annotate every physical copy I own, and it's signed because I met her in person. You can check that out on my Instagram if you follow me there. I actually really enjoyed this book, but didn't think it was amazing. Let me explain. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars in general. Like, again, it's in that, like, good category. Like, it's not amazing, but it's definitely worth reading if that's, like, your type of book. Enjoyment, I gave it a 3.5 because I did really enjoy it. I did also put it down a lot. Like, there were a lot of periods of time where I just wasn't drawn to pick it up. That might have just been because I was, like, not in the mood to read, but it didn't, like, hold me the same way that some other books have. For quality, I also gave it a 3 because there were just some plot things that I felt like were either a little rushed or a little drawn out. Yeah, like, I felt the pacing was off with some things. I mean, it is a fascinating story, and the pacing is kind of important to the plot, but it just wasn't my favorite way of doing it. For characters, I gave it a 4 because Stephanie Garber, obviously, is excellent at characters. I mean, if you've read her stuff, you'll know. And the main character especially is classic Stephanie Garber. I love her. And the supporting cast of characters, oh my gosh. Chance deserved better. I'm not gonna spoil. He just deserved more. I'm not gonna spoil. But justice for plot, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because, again, the pacing wasn't there for me, and I felt like we could have utilized some things better. I mean, it starts off so well. Like, the beginning of the book, I love it. Fantastic. It was actually after, there are certain chapters in second person, and it was kind of after the chapters in second person stopped that I actually found it less interesting, which is weird because I don't generally like second person. I kind of actually generally dislike second person, but it was just those chapters will haunt me. So for that, I really enjoyed it. But for everything else, it was good. Like, it was solidly good, but not amazing. So I'm just a very critical reviewer. So the next one on this list, I really wanted to love, but I did not love. It is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. If you know, I am obsessed with Six of Crows. I'm currently working my way through Crooked Kingdom. Again, I'm a slow reader, and I have a physical copy of it, so we'll see. I also have spoilers, and now I'm sad. But anyway, back to this book. So, The Familiar. I really, really wanted to like this book, and I did for the first half. And then I was just like, okay. Like, first of all, the chemistry in this book was not believable for me. It just kind of felt like the two characters in a relationship were just attracted to each other and didn't really care about the other person in any other way. Which, I don't know. And then it was instantly like, wow, I'm in love with you. And I'm like, are you? Do you know that? So for me, that was like a little twisty, especially going from Six of Crows, where the romance is like so beautifully delicate. I was just like, what? So overall, it was 2 stars for me. My enjoyment was a 1.5 because also, again, this is going to sound nitpicky, but I like it when my magic system, even if it's vague, has like a reason. And this book never gave me a reason to believe why the magic happened and worked and existed. And that kind of bugged me. For quality, I gave it a 2.5. I should actually probably raise that because it is really well written. For the most part, I'm a very character-loving reader. So when I don't feel any attachment to the secondary main character, like the male main character, I just don't care for, I get a little perturbed. Again, I really need to believe the relationship, and it didn't. So, yeah. For plot, I gave it 2.5 because it did actually exist, and it was kind of interesting. It just wasn't good or great. I mean, it was good. I felt like the consequences were very misplaced, if that makes any sense. Like, and I get it, like, not every cause has an equal effect. Like, you know, there's leeway, there's problems, there's mishaps, and I get that. But there were just things I could spot from a mile away. So, yeah, overall, just didn't love it. The final book that I actually finished, I have 2 other books that I will say and give an honorary mention to, is Armada by Ernest Cline. Is that how you say his name? I listened to this book in a day and a half. I just watched Ready Player One, the movie, because it's leaving Netflix, and I was like, man, I really love this movie. I'd only watched it once before, and that was several years ago, and so I was like, man, I want to read Ready Player One. And my Libby does have Ready Player One available, but they don't have Ready Player Two available until like 14 weeks from now, so I was like, okay, I'll just hold off and read both of them together. And in the meantime, I was just scrolling his books, and I saw Armada, and I was like, oh, this has an interesting premise, and it does, okay? I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Like, it was, and I am not generally drawn to sci-fi. Overall, 4 stars. Like, it was very, very interesting. The premise was interesting, the execution was interesting, the twists were actually twisty, but not like, it was exactly what the book needed. Like, the twists weren't shocking per se, but they were, it's kind of like Ready Player One, the movie. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like twisty, but it's exactly what it needs. So, enjoyment, I also gave a 4 out of 5. Like, again, there were some things that did bother me, but nothing that I was like really irritated or perturbed by. So, there were just some things that I was like, oh man, I don't love that. But again, it was all for storytelling purposes, and I understand. I just wish some things had happened differently. Quality was definitely a 4.5 out of 5. Like, the writing style was excellent. The pacing was amazing. If you like a fast-paced book, highly suggest Armada. For characters, I gave a 4 out of 5. Again, pretty much everything on this list is 4 out of 5. Because they were all solid. And actually, the best thing that this book does is introduce characters snappily. And you instantly kind of, even if you don't instantly like them, you instantly, like, understand them, which I thought was excellently done. And plot, I also gave a 4 out of 5. Again, it was like right in between good and awesome. It's just that great zone where it was like, this is great, but not like, whoa, amazing. So, if you want a book that you can just destroy in a day and a half, I highly suggest Armada. And finally, our honorary mentions. I'm going to start with the book I am currently reading, which is The Jester of Apocalypse, Book 2, Immortality, which, honestly, right now, I'm probably going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Like, it's almost as good as the previous book, but it's not quite. Not because the quality dropped, just because the first one had more world building, like, just are coming rapid fire at you, which I, again, love a rapid fire, fast-paced story. And the second one is fast-paced as well. It's just not quite as snappy. So I currently haven't, like, properly rated everything, but enjoyment-wise, it's probably, like, 3.5 to 4 stars out of 5. Characters, again, are pretty consistent. It's basically, like, everything I gave the first book, again. I have yet to read the third book, but I'm really excited to start. Our final book of this wrap-up is actually one I haven't technically read at all this half of the year, but I think it counts, okay? This is my book. I read it a lot in the first half of the year, and I didn't put it on my list, which I'm kind of disappointed by, but it's here. It's out if you want to read it. I'm not going to give this a star rating because that seems unfair, because I just give it a 5-star rating. So instead, I'm going to call you to give this book a rating. I know this is becoming a kind of annoying ad, but it's a really, really fun read, and it's short, and the second book is coming out hopefully in the summer or spring, I don't remember, summer or spring of next year, so you're not going to have to wait long, and I worked really hard on it, and my sister and the rest of my family did too. So if you want to read a fantasy, royalty, war, very little magic system, but like some fun stuff in there, kind of fantasy book, I've got you. It's not a fairy tale retelling, but it does involve a lot of fairy tales, so if you like classics such as Alice in Wonderland, I'm not going to mention the other ones because that's actually technically a spoiler, but if you like Alice in Wonderland but wish it was actually about much more serious topics and had very little to do with Alice in Wonderland, I suggest my book. It's called Hearts and Stones. I'm just now realizing I haven't mentioned the title, but yeah, I think that does it for what I read. I only read, like 8, 9, is it 10 books? Anyway, this is your reminder that how many books you read doesn't determine how good of a reader you are, or good is a stupid word. If you're a reader, I don't know. You're a reader if you read books or listen to books in my book. So I hope you enjoyed this very chaotic rant session with me talking about books I did and didn't enjoy. I'll be back again with another one of these in half a year, and be back sooner than that with my sister talking about the books we like, books we're writing, and how we write. Also, we sometimes just do fun games, so if you want to hang out with us for that, there is a playlist on our channel. For now, I love you guys. Happy New Year. Where it's like just very vast, and the other guys are cool too. Constantly playing with Patrick would just write the final book. He would be like the most amazing author we've seen in this generation, in the most amazing author we've seen in this century so far, which is not saying a lot because it's not a long century, but probably the last century as well. But we had some pretty great authors in the last century. I listened to it, and for 4.5 I gave it, no. I get a little perturbed